Rome, the empire that ruled the world. There was a time when every road in the world led to Rome. There was a time when millions of soldiers moved at the command of a single man. There was a time when 1 out of every 5 people on earth lived under the influence of the Roman Empire. But then, that same empire, before which kings trembled, whose armies were considered undefeatable, whose laws changed the politics of the entire world, suddenly began to fall apart. The question is not why Rome was great. The real question is, how did such a mighty empire collapse? Was it destroyed by foreign enemies? Or did Rome become a victim of its own pride, greed, and struggles for power? This is the story of wars written in blood, of conspiracies among emperors, of the assassination of Julius Caesar, of Cleopatra's love, and of the thousands of soldiers who made Rome the greatest power on earth. But every greatness has an ending, and the fall of Rome was so terrifying that it changed the course of world history forever. Today, we travel 2,000 years back in time to an age when a small city was about to become the ruler of the world. This is the complete story of the Roman Empire. A legendary beginning. Friends, the story of Rome is not just the story of a city. It is one of the most astonishing achievements in human history. A city, which at first was only a small settlement beside the Tiber River, but in the centuries that followed, it became the most powerful empire in the world. Many fascinating legends are told about the beginning of Rome. The most famous story is about 2 twin brothers, Romulus and Remus. According to the legend, the 2 children were abandoned in a river during their childhood, but fate had other plans. A female wolf found them, fed them with her milk, and raised them like her own children. Years later, the same 2 brothers founded a new settlement beside the Tiber River. But the hunger for power, which would later become part of Roman history itself, showed its face here as well. A conflict broke out between the brothers, and Romulus killed his own brother, Remus. After that, he gave the new settlement a name, Rome. But the question is, was this true history, or simply a beautiful legend? The real birth of Rome. The story of Romulus and Remus is certainly fascinating, but according to modern historians, it was only a myth. The reality was somewhat different. Around 625 BC, several small settlements existed along the Tiber River. These villages were mostly made up of farmers, shepherds, and traders. At that time, Italy was not a united country. Small states and tribes were scattered everywhere. People lived in constant fear of attacks. That fear forced different settlements to come closer together. Over time, these villages slowly merged into a larger city, and thus, Rome was born. In the beginning, Rome was not a great power. It had no massive army, no vast territories, and no endless treasures. But it possessed one thing that later made it the most powerful empire in the world: organization and discipline. The Romans were warriors, but they were also practical thinkers. They did not only know how to fight, they also knew how to learn. They learned from every defeat and grew stronger after every success. The Age of Kings. The early history of Rome is known as the Age of Kings. This period lasted from around 600 BC to 509 BC. During this time, 7 kings ruled Rome. Interestingly, the monarchy was not completely hereditary. There was a powerful council, which the world would later know as the Senate. This Senate played an important role in choosing new kings. During this era, roads were built in Rome, temples were constructed, and the city's first strong walls were raised. But as power increased, so did arrogance, and eventually, authority fell into the hands of a man who changed the course of Roman history forever. His name was Lucius Tarquinius Superbus. History remembers him as Tarquin the Proud. He was a cruel ruler. People hated him, but remained silent out of fear. Then, a terrible incident occurred that ignited all of Rome like fire. The end of the monarchy. According to tradition, the king's son was accused of committing a terrible crime against a noblewoman. The news spread throughout Rome. Anger continued to rise. People poured into the streets, and for the first time, the citizens of Rome decided that no single man should ever again hold absolute power. In 509 BC, the monarchy was abolished, and on that very day, one of the most unique political experiments in world history began: the Roman Republic. Now, no king would rule Rome. Power would belong to an institution called the Senate. It was a moment that changed not only Rome, but thousands of years of political history to come. Because for the first time, a state attempted to prove that government could function without kings. The Roman Republic, 509 BC, the monarchy had ended, but a new question emerged. If there would be no king, then who would rule Rome? The answer was the Senate. Representatives of Rome's powerful families sat in the Senate. These men created laws, made decisions, and shaped the future of the state. Every year, 2 consuls were elected. Each consul kept watch over the other, so that no single man could gain complete power. It was a revolutionary system. But there was one major problem. Not all Roman citizens were equal. Rome was divided into 2 social classes. The first class was the patricians. These were the wealthy and powerful families. The land, the wealth, and the political power were all in their hands. The second class was the plebeians. These were the common people: farmers, soldiers, laborers, and small merchants. They made up the majority of Rome's population, but their rights were very limited. For many years, a struggle continued between the 2 classes. The common people repeatedly protested. They refused military service, and they put pressure on the government. Eventually, the plebeians won several important rights. This became one of the earliest movements for public rights in history, and it was this struggle that helped make the Roman Republic even stronger. As Rome grew stronger internally, its attention increasingly turned toward neighboring territories. The Romans believed that the best defense was offense, so they began launching wars against nearby states. With every victory, Rome became more powerful. Even after defeat, they never gave up. They raised new armies, returned to the battlefield, and fought again. That determination set them apart from others. In 390 BC, a powerful people from the north, the Gauls, invaded Rome. The city was devastated. Homes were burned, people were killed, and it seemed as if Rome's story had come to an end. But this was the moment that revealed the true character of the Roman people. They refused to accept defeat. They rebuilt their city, they strengthened their army, and within a few decades, they had conquered the entire Italian peninsula. Rome was no longer just a city, it had become a rising power. Carthage, Rome's most dangerous rival. But across the sea, another great power existed, a power far ahead of Rome in wealth, trade, and naval strength. Its name was Carthage. Located on the coast of North Africa, this magnificent city dominated Mediterranean trade. Its ships could be seen on every sea. Its treasuries were filled with gold, and its military was considered among the finest in the world. Rome and Carthage both desired to rule the same world. And history shows that when 2 superpowers seek the same throne, war becomes inevitable.